نفسي ما يا حلو إمتى تنوريكوس ياهين لهب دولو إمتى تنوريكوس.
We thought we'd ask the average person what they knew about Judaism.
Not that much.
Any specifics that you know about?
Not really, just basic about the religion, but since I'm not really that religion.
Wow, are you recording now?
Yeah.
Out of all the random people we came across, only one person knew about Judaism.
Well, I know obviously it's one of the, it's not the first, but it's one of the first of the monotheistic religions out there.
There's much that can be learned about Judaism. Some may know vague details about the religion, but not the specifics.
Judaism is a monotheistic religion, which means they believe in one God. Jews believe that God revealed the laws and commandments to Moses on Mount Sinai. Judaism is also one of the oldest religions that believes in one God.
Judaism's traditions, values, and text have greatly influenced later religions, such as Christianity and Islam. In 2010, the world's Jewish population was estimated to be 13.4 million.
Here's what Mark Harvey and David Speigler, both practicing Jews, had to say.
My name is Mark Harvey. I'm the president of Congregation B'nai Torah. That is a Reformed Jewish congregation located in Westminster.
I'm David Speigler, Temple Sinai in Denver, which is on Hamden.
How did you become involved with Jewish faith?
I have spent just about half of my life in the Presbyterian Church. I've spent the last half of my life in Reformed Judaism. Okay. I finally got into my mid-20s, and I had so much struggle, and I was finding going to church, and I was a regular church. I spent 5 years as a deacon in the Presbyterian Church. Truth of the matter is that I found there was more and more of the liturgy of the Christian church that I wasn't comfortable saying.
My connection to Judaism was really through my grandfather, my father's father. This was in the Bronx in New York, where I grew up. And we used to go to services together on Saturday morning.
How do Jewish beliefs impact you on a daily basis?
It has to do with my feelings about people in general. My view of God is of a force in the universe in which we're all connected. And so that connectivity is what influences the way I see people, other people, as well as myself. And I feel like we're all part of the same connection. Doesn't matter what religion or race or whatever. It affects the way I see people in general.
It's always been my basic religious background. That's a part of me. I mean, you treat people in certain ways. Mm-hmm. I gave up lying when I was 6 years old because I sucked at it. Okay? Okay? There are certain things that in my mind you just don't do to other people. It's not so much being Jewish that affects me on day to day, it's your approach to life, and Judaism affects my approach to life.
What can you tell us about other forms of Judaism?
The Reform tends to be amongst the more liberal of the congregations. Simply open-minded in terms of what it does things. Conservative is, by definition, more conservative. The Orthodox, they are orthodox. They tend to take things in terms of school terms. It's almost like a zero-tolerance policy. What Reform Judaism teaches is you find the things that you find meaningful. Okay. And that you do devoutly. There are many, many in the Orthodox Jewish community who do not think Reform Jews, such as myself, are even really Jews.
Reform Jews are required to, before they make departures in terms of laws that Orthodox Jews would subscribe to, you first have to know what you're departing from. So you need to be educated in the laws and the traditions and whatever. And when you make departures, the departures are made from the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law. One of the things Orthodox Judaism does, it's positive and negative. It takes out of your hands the need to think every single day about why am I doing this and do I really want to do this or whatever. You follow set paths.
What do you think of other faiths?
I think of them in the same vein as I think about other paths of Judaism. I think we're all faiths, I think, are designed or are focused on creating people who will bring us to, at some point, a messianic age, an age in which we all can live together in some kind of harmony.
My philosophy on religion is basically this, okay? God created people. People created religion. That's why there are so many religions. Okay? It doesn't mean God changes anywhere. It's just your understanding and interpretation.
Do you take the Torah literally?
I personally no. Reform Judaism as a whole, I would say no. Do you take literally everything you've read in history class? No, I do not take everything literally. I take the teachings seriously.
One of the major differences is that Reform Judaism doesn't take the Torah as literal. It's highly interpretive of what's in there.
Who was Jesus to you?
A prophet, clearly a very charismatic leader who had a lot of, I think, very good things to say to people at a time when they needed to hear it.
Because it's kind of hard to say, I believe in God the Father Almighty and in Jesus Christ, His only Son, if you really don't believe in Jesus Christ, His only Son. And so I was starting to omit things as far as that goes.
What are some food rules of your faith?
Keeping kosher, okay? And keeping kosher in a very, very general sense for those who don't know it. Some people read into the Torah, which lays out some things that these are the things that are acceptable to eat. You can eat this, you can eat this. And if it doesn't give you permission to eat it, it's off the table. So, and that's where things like not eating pork, not eating shellfish come in. And there are arguments on all sides. Some people think it was health related.
So I'm no longer kosher. I tend not to eat pork products. I tend to, again, in terms of the spirit of what was originally intended, it's mostly about thinking about your food, thinking about what you're putting in your body, which was really my interpretation and a more reform interpretation of kashrut, of the laws of kosher laws, that you're supposed to think about what you're eating, about the animals that they came from.
How much of the Hebrew language do you know?
Well, I once knew a lot more than I do now. I went to a Hebrew high school, or a Hebrew high school program when I was in high school. So I learned to speak it and to read it and write it and whatever. So I can still do all of those except speaking it fluently.
What are some important Jewish terms or sayings that we should know?
The Jewish way of saying the golden rule is, that which is hateful to you, do not do to anybody else. The good that you have done in this life continues to live on in this life after you're gone through the people who have known you. Shalom, everybody basically knows, means peace. Shema is, it kind of means, it means hear, it means listen up, okay? Pay attention.
There's a term in Judaism called tikkun olam. It has to do with repair of the world. The world was once perfect, filled only with God, and then when people came into the world, things shattered. People were imperfect, And the goal of all people is to try to pick up those pieces and repair the world, to make the world a better place. Mensch, M-E-N-S-C-H, it means a person. When somebody is called a mensch, and it could be a man or a woman, it means they're a human being. They're somebody who represents the best in who people are. And there's a term chutzpah, I don't know if you've ever heard that. It's taking a stand and having a lot of nerve to do that.
What are some misconceptions about your faith?
We did Jesus in, that we killed Jesus, that we were responsible for his death. And it led to a lot of very negative feeling between Christians and Jews over the years, which was really unfortunate. I think there's a misconception of Jews as being sort of pushy, always looking for an edge or looking for a way to manipulate things.
It's still amazing how many people associate Jews with all having money. How many people ask me, honestly, do Jews celebrate Christmas? No, that has to do with, okay. When I heard about this was an amazing thing, that somebody said, do Jews celebrate Thanksgiving? Guys, Thanksgiving is an American holiday. As long as we're American, yeah, pretty much.
How does Judaism treat homosexuality?
I'm going to quote you something when I went to conversion classes. He was actually my rabbi at the time. It was another Reform congregation. I remember this very, very clearly. He said that Judaism's teaching regarding homosexuality is very, very clear. Homosexuality is an abomination. But he said that doesn't mean that you cannot treat people with understanding, compassion, reasonable. However, at Congregation B'nai Torah, I will make it very, very clear that part of our mission statement is that we welcome alternative families.
Well, Orthodox Judaism, and certainly in the Torah, treats it as certainly as something not to do. That things that don't benefit procreation or the continuation of the line are seen as not something that to be encouraged or to be followed. And Reform Judaism is quite open to gay and lesbian members. Doesn't really have a problem with acceptance.
We really enjoyed this project and thought it was a real eye-opener to other faiths. It was quite interesting to learn about a non-Christian religion, as it was something we were both not very familiar with. Thanks for watching our video.